Good afternoon everyone, how are you doing? Tony back here, Fitness Freak Shows, joined by the two dogs. Ah, Christ, this isn't going to work at all. Knight and Bo. How are you? Hope you're having a good one. It's been a while since I did a video because I've been so busy with other things, primarily building websites and stuff, so that's my other job that I do when I'm not teaching classes or hiking up mountains. So I've been fairly busy with that. But I had a Twitter there about the hobbies that I have, my interests. Night down. Hobbies and interests that I have, as most of you probably well know by now, calisthenics and climbing. It really comes down to them two. There's martial arts involved as well, but I've kind of been so preoccupied with the calisthenics and the climbing lately that it's taken over my whole life. So yeah, someone asked me the equipment that I would be using when I do my climbing or bouldering, whatever. So I thought I'd take the time out to explain to you what it is that I wear, the clothing, the shoes, and the gear. So without further ado, I'm just gonna crack on with it. So yeah, climbing, that's my thing. If I'm ever going to be doing my running and my trail running, you may have seen in previous videos I talk about my marathons that I train for. It's very basic. I'll be using just the bottle here with the belt, nothing too heavy. I'll be using this for the phone, and a good pair of trail runners. So these are actually Solomon trainers, trail runners, extremely good tread. They're more for running through the woods and the rivers, but they're very good, very comfortable. So if I'm doing my marathons or anything like that, that's the gear. It's very straightforward. Pair of shorts, t-shirt, job done. Bouldering, bit different. I've got the rock climbing shoes. So again, these are very good. Had these for a while. They stick to the wall like Spider-Man shoes. Some decent chalk. This is super chalk with a DMM chalk bag. That's just a bandana I'd be wearing, and fairly tight trousers so I don't catch on the walls. I don't really wear a top when I do the bouldering, just because it catches and it can be a pain. Now we move on to the actual climbing. So if I was going up the mountains, I would always be taking my lucky hat. This is a fleecy hat. Had this for years. I've used it to pick up hot cups and burn the thing. And this was also like a bandana, a neck tube. I think you put it on through the, that goes over your head, and then this just goes onto the top. My sister bought me this a few years back, and especially when I go climbing mountains, there we go, this is campfire stuff right here, just ash burning through it. Whenever I go climbing, I somehow seem to get attached to my gear. There we go. I get attached to my gear and it becomes extremely lucky. So wherever I'm going, I will always take these two items with me. They're just good luck gear, and this is always on my head. My basic whistle, emergency whistle, and a little compass there. Then I have my silver compass here, very handy. Make sure if you're ever climbing the mountains, and I've been with a few people that have climbed, they don't know how to read a compass or work a map. That's ridiculous. Always make sure you can understand how to use one of these. Save your life. Knife, only needed it on a few occasions, but again, it's always best to keep it. Some decent gloves. These have seen some better days, to be fair, but they still do the job fantastically well. I would always wear a very light fleece top with a light body warmer, and then I will take this. This is a very light shell jacket, so I wouldn't be wearing much more than that. You'll tend to find that you'll get extremely warm climbing mountains. You only get cold when you stop. I've got my water pack here. This is a Gillette one here, and this was actually the first bag I ever purchased. It's not very big, it's just a very straightforward pack, but it does everything that I need. It has everything I need, shall I say. The platypus, the water reserve will go in the back, in here, and I feed the tubes through here, so I've got a constant supply of good water. So that's that one there, and of course some very good boots. These are actually cotton traders. I have a few pairs. I've just grabbed these ones. These are the first ones I could see. And this is also something to look out for if you're ever going crazy with your hiking and your climbing. This seal whenever you're buying a pair, check this out. Always give them a good old bend, and if this starts to wear, if it starts to stress, put them back. I've had these for years and they actually did stress. They've been resealed now, and they're good, but I would normally not buy a boot with this type of seal here. So you kind of want it so it's kind of welded into the sole, so it's one whole piece. Normally a very thick plastic, and it's just, you don't get the stitching. But these are good boots. These are good boots. I've just had them for a while. And then if I'm doing the really crazy expedition, hiking up the mountains and the rest of it, I take this gear here. So first aid kit, this actually comes with this gear and this gear. Always stays with me. Some good gloves. Again, I have so many pairs of gloves, it's mad. The platypus, exactly the same as this one over here. A much bigger bag. This is a much bigger bag. So this is actually Futura Pro 38. It's a good bag, and you have a system here running through the back, so it doesn't damage you, doesn't affect your spine. This is a nice straight piece here. There's actually a metal in here, and it's very handy to have something like this if you're going on big climbs. When I did the 12 Peak Challenge last year, this is the bag I took. I put everything in. There's plenty of water, food. If I'm camping out when I hike, I'll be taking the knife, the Bear Grylls bad boy. Really handy to have. Haven't needed it so much. It's very good for lighting fires because you've got the flint here and you've got your safety whistle. So that's pretty cool. The smallest skaters in the world, but they're very good for keeping out the water. Very important, this is a Trekmates balaclava, and the great thing about this is when you do get soaking wet, which you do when you go up the mountains, the moisture gathers here and you can actually drink it, which is pretty cool, and it keeps you warm. Decent pair of socks. These were €30 for these socks. So these extremely thick socks. Really important when you're hiking to have two pairs, even two pairs of gloves, but really have two pairs of socks, like your medical kit. There's that. Wherever you're going, you want to take one of these with you, and your compass, and your socks. So they're really important. And then finally, La Sportiva, the bad boy boots. These are good for alpine climbing as well. These are a fair bit. These were nearly €450. So they are good. I've used them once or twice, but they look fairly new. That's because I clean things like mad. And what I was saying earlier was with the seam. That's the word I was trying to find earlier. Couldn't think of it. The reason I couldn't think of it is because my dogs have disappeared and they're on my mind. I don't know where they've gone. Ugh, they're fine. This seam here, yeah, like I said earlier, if you can find a boot like this, and they don't have to be this expensive, there is no seam. You see, you have the rubber here. This is kind of one piece. So this can really last a long time. And I mean, even though these are about $450, these were about 120, 130. You can buy boots similar to this with this style for about 150 odd euro. So they don't need to be quite like this. But if you are into your mountain climbing and you are into your hiking and you like to go off-route a little bit like me, then you really want to try and get something which is nice and flush, and this will do the job. So that's basically it. That's all my gear. So the marathon running, trail running, my bouldering, basic hiking, and then my mad outdoor expedition stuff. That's all there. So that keeps me busy. That's all my stuff. And yeah. And if you're ever doing the hiking, I would always suggest you wear a few thin layers with like a base layer, and then something similar to this. This is the fleece you'll always see me wearing. And take one of these as well. So these are shell proof. It's a rain bag, obviously, and it's very light, so you can slide that in the bag. Because when you hike, no matter what weather conditions are, no matter how cold it is, you will be warm. You get very warm. The only time you get cold is when you stop. So you want to make sure that you don't have too much to wear. But do bring the socks, bring the first aid kit, bring the compass, learn how to use one. For the love of God, you have to learn how to use one. Decent gloves, and obviously boots. And if you're going to get a new pair of boots, make sure that you wear them in first for a couple of weeks until you take your hiking. And that's it. and then over to the bouldering very quickly. Make sure you get very good chalk, because some chalk, it's all graded, some chalk is very good and some is very poor. This is the messless one, this is the super chalk, it's 142 grams, and I didn't pay much for this. £4, €4, and there is a difference. Chalk isn't just chalk, so make sure you do your research on that as well. So there we go, that's my gear. So now what I'm going to do is get back in, and I'll continue with some editing, and I'll be doing some more filming. We have the kidney kicks. There's been a big delay with the filming because, like I said, I was so busy with everything else, but I'm back on top of it now. My dogs was here 2 minutes ago and now they're gone. Ah, Jesus. Now I've got to find my dogs. I don't know where they are. Night! Found them. Alright. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and I hope to see you again soon. Where did you go? Hey, you. Good boys.